Good evening, everybody. You're very welcome along to the final round of the Kokoro Invitational Series brought to you by FP0 Simulators. What an amazing couple of rounds we've had, but it's coming to a close here with 2 rounds, 2 races to decide who wins the title. 12 drivers are in contention, and we're going to find out today who is going to win it. Joining me in the box is Sam Fitzpatrick, as always. Alex Simpson working on the cameras. Sam, we all know what happened last week. Heartbreak for O'Sullivan. But there's some real money on the line here, and there's a title at stake, and we got to decide today.
Absolutely, a grand for the winner, plus 50 quid for each race win as well. So these guys will really want to be on top. And I think more than the money as well, it's that prestige. There's so many different drivers from so many different series. To be able to say that you've come out on top, that's quite a mantle to hold. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot put on the line today for those championship hunters.
Yeah, exactly. So the drivers are just currently in free practice. They'll be heading into qualifying very shortly. So they'll have a lone qualifying of 3 laps, and then we'll have 2 races, Heat 1, and of course 40 drivers will go through to the feature, depending on the grid size we have today. That could mean that they all get to the feature. And then, of course, the reverse grid will make things even more interesting. So currently at the top of the standings, Frederick Vesti, the Dane, is leading ahead of Richard Forshaw after his win last week in Interlagos, with Zach O'Sullivan's disconnect right on the finish line as he came towards it. O'Sullivan just missing out on the win. 6 different winners in 6 different rounds that we've had, and we're doing the final rounds today. And, of course, there is a point for fastest lap as well, and we follow the F1 style points. So forgive us if we don't quite do the maths, because there's gonna be a lot going on in these races. But yeah, before I think we get into the action, we have got Josh Butcher with Kokoro Media with us as well. So we're just going to have a quick chat with Josh just to hear about him and the series. Josh, thanks a million for hopping in the commentary box with us. Great to have you with us in the final round of the Kokoro Invitational Series. So I just wanted to ask you, just as we head into this, can you just tell us a little bit more about Kokoro Media as a whole?
Yep. Hi guys, thanks for having me. So yeah, Kokoro Media. Last year I joined what has now become the Kokoro Group, initially to help their signed drivers with things like social media, sponsorship, and it soon became quite clear there was enough demand to branch that out into its own separate thing. Kokoro Performance as a company kind of brings together all the on-track elements like car control, those techniques, the mentality of a driver, and also the physical side as well. And with Kokoro Media, we aim to cover most of the off-track elements. That's the commercial side to racing, social media, branding, things like that. And those are the services we package up to offer, hopefully when we go racing again soon. These days you could argue it's just as important that young drivers consider their brand, their online presence, and cultivating that as early as possible, to make sure they're the ones considered, when the big teams come calling. For the esports stuff, it's always been on our radar, but we've needed a decent opportunity to go about it properly. So now with the way times are, and using all of our resources as a company, we can make it the real deal for those taking part, with real drivers, real stakes for the cash prizes, using our coaches for the policing, and then obviously on media side as well. It's a great opportunity for me to exercise that area of the business with promotion and organising it. So yeah.
Absolutely, and then of course on that topic we have the Insta Boost, which is much more relevant, of course, now that we're at the final round of the championship. It could decide the championship. I mean, go through how that all works.
Yeah, completely. And that's an ideal scenario for us, really, because I mentioned how important it is, or at least we believe it is, that drivers consider, their brand and their online presence, and making sure their followers regularly engage with everything they're up to. I think by offering them bonus points each week, and actual championship points that may well decide who gets £1,000 and who gets £350 for first and second. We wanted to see how creative the guys could be with that pressure on. And I think also it's a great opportunity for the younger guys, or those a bit less experienced on the track. They might not have a chance of winning a race, but they might be able to steal a few extra points here or there with their followers. So yeah.
And so it's obviously been really effective so far. So who have you noticed has been using it particularly well? Which drivers caught your eye with that one?
Yeah, definitely. Hugo de Wilde has obviously been the benchmark, and he's, out of all 4 rounds, he's got the maximum 5 points. But to be honest, it's not just down to the fact that he has quite a small, really supportive group of people following him. He always takes the time and effort to post something unique or funny or eye-catching. And it also does really got a good job of reflecting who he is as a person. And on top of that, because he's got those extra 20 points, he's put himself right in contention for the championship. I believe he's fourth or fifth, and only, let's say, a race win or so off Vesti in first. Another guy I want to shout out is Richard Forshaw. He went to the trouble of shooting a video of him out and about in his racewear before receiving a phone call, and he drove back in his car with all his race kit on, and then jumped straight into the sim. And it's those bits of content. It's been great to see the drivers kind of come up off their own back with. And then, yeah, a few of the up-and-comers as well. Dion Gowder, Marius Zug, Giffen Simpson, some of those younger guys have all grabbed points here or there to just compensate for maybe not the best results on track.
So with how would you say the importance of social media has gained over time? Has it been kind of a gradual gain, or would you say like the likes of Lando Norris, who's always streaming on Twitch, and many other racers who have a big kind of social media presence? Do you think they've pushed the importance there, or would you say it's just been as social media has grown in our lives?
I think going a bit further back into the 80s and 90s, the guys that really pioneered being businessmen rather than just drivers, like Niki Lauda, and Senna, guys like that. It's always been important to consider the commercial side to driving, image rights, how you present yourself, any partnerships you create. But obviously social media has been at the forefront of that, especially in the last 5 or 6 years. And now esports has taken over with things the way they are at the moment. You see guys like Lando who've lived it, that's all they know, and even guys like Charles Leclerc, and a few of the other young guys, they're really taking advantage of that, and they're keeping themselves relevant. They're in the conversation. They're talked about every week, whereas a couple of the older guys aren't.
Yeah, and obviously because of the whole lockdown, everyone's been kind of stuck inside, but we've got so many of these series popping up now. So do you think, in your own opinion, that sim racing is going to be even more of an integral part of driver coaching in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I think this point in time has been a bit of a proof of concept, especially for maybe the slightly older generation of drivers that are they've already made it to the highest levels, kind of F2 and beyond, Le Mans Series, IndyCar. And those guys hadn't really dabbled in sim racing that much because it's more of a new generation thing. And I think those guys seeing the value in it. I mean, obviously there's been a bit of criticism as well with the accuracy of the simulation, and on all the different ones, not just iRacing and R-Factor and things like that. But having those guys on it all the time will only make them better and make running events like this, no matter what the platform's on, more attractive for the drivers, sponsors, things like that. All these great broadcasts, not just your own, but ones like IndyCar, V8 Supercars, all those ones running at the moment. Yeah, it means sim racing's here to stay. It's not just a hobbyist thing anymore.
So this round of the championship is going to be absolutely pivotal. Number one, who do you think is going to come out today, and who do you think is going to come out on top in the championship as well? Who do you think is going to have that mental side to take that title?
Put me on the spot there. Obviously the guys out front who've been there every round, Vesti, Forshaw, Zach O'Sullivan as well. I think he had an unlucky Barcelona, but then really showed how strong you can be at Interlagos. Those guys are going to be right there again. This week they need to watch out for newcomer Cem Boltabassi. I'm sure a few people watching are aware of who he is. Red Bull esports driver, F1 esports. I think he finished second a few years ago. Him coming from an esports background he's gonna be a real curveball for the other guys to consider. And then there's those guys that are on the fringes of the top five that are still mathematically within a chance. We've had 6 winners so far, although you could argue Zach probably should have won both rounds at Interlagos. You might see guys that have been on the radar, guys like Gus Bowers, Kayaski, James Pull. They're really strong, really quick guys, and for whatever reason, it's not quite come together yet. I'm sure you'll see those guys contend today. Looking at the times right now as well, we've got Victor Martins, who joined us last week in Interlagos. He's currently the pace setter. And Alfred Nielsen as well, GT4 driver. He's been there or thereabouts every time. So, yeah, you can't really call it who's going to win a race today. Championship-wise, I think given Vesti and Vershaw's consistency and how quick they've been every race, you'd be silly not to bet on one of those guys. But, yeah, who doesn't love an underdog story? I think Zane or Zach, or maybe even Hugo de Wilde, if he can get a race win, all those guys are within a shout.
And finally, Josh, while we have you, are there any plans in progress for another series like this in the future?
I mean, given the success of this series, not just with all the drivers taking part, but I think we've been pleasantly surprised with the exposure as well. There are a couple of ideas in the works, nothing set in stone yet, but we want to keep shaking up the format and do something fresh each time. We don't just want to repeat the same thing. It's been interesting to see a lot of series crop up in the last couple of weeks that all kind of fit the same template. So yeah, we want to keep pushing the boundary, keep challenging the drivers. Obviously with the track and car combinations, but also with the off-track stuff. I think InstaBoost, it's been a a bit of a novel experiment, but there's definitely ways we can improve it and make it a bit fairer for the next championship, whatever that may be.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Well, really thanks for having a chat with us, Josh. It's been fantastic to get your insight on the championship. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to? Anyone from Kokoro that you'd like to give a thanks to for setting up this series?
Just wanted to mention, obviously, Kieran, Core Performance, and main sponsor of the series, and James Robinson as well from FP0. Those guys obviously been pivotal in putting up the funds, so to speak, to make this all happen. But then obviously our coaches and Clarkley courses as well. Scott Malvern has done a brilliant job so far. He's here again, manning the station, dishing out penalties, and he's got Harrison, Scott, and Ben Tuck with him. All those guys are professional drivers. They know what they're talking about. So got full confidence those guys will do the job again today. And yeah, as well, just wanted to mention you guys have done an amazing job. The broadcasters really stepped up each week, and I'm really looking forward to see what this one holds for us.
Awesome.
Great,
So,
thanks a million, Josh. So we'll let you go now and let you sit back and enjoy the race. But thanks a million for talking to us, and wish you all the best for the future.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you, guys.
So, Josh, obviously really excited. 12 drivers, as we mentioned before, are in with a shot of winning the title today. He's obviously mentioned Vesti for sure. De Vilde, of course, he's been strong with the InstaBoost, like he mentioned. And it's really, really interesting to see how things are going to go on. But these are the practice times at the moment, with 3 minutes left in practice before we head into qualifying. And it's extremely close. As you mentioned, Victor Martins, Frederick Vesti is second, then Zach O'Sullivan. There is Alfred Nilsson, who we're looking at the moment. Chembolak Bassi, who is the newcomer for today. He is fifth and looking really, really quick. And then it's Richard Verschoor sixth, Maloney, Callan Williams, Justin Arsenault, and Marius Zug in 10th place. But Zach O'Sullivan, I mean, he's got something to prove now. He proved that he can win double last week, but I think there's going to be a lot of prayers for him today to hope that he doesn't have the same issues as last week.
I mean, that was unbelievable, wasn't it? I've never seen something quite as spectacular as that when he was approaching the line at Interlagos. He negotiated turn 12 up the hill into 13 and then disappeared. Complete connection failure for him, and didn't finish the race. It was remarkable as well because there was a few others glitching in and out of the server throughout the race, and yet it was him who fell foul to it in the end. Massive shame for him, but still the championship is possible for him, and we know that he was very capable of winning both races. Remember, he won race 1, and then he went from 20th to the lead in race 2 as well. So I think he's going to be one of the favourites for today. Victor Martins currently at the top there, but fantastic to have Chembolak Bassi in this championship. Former Radicals driver in the World Championship event. Dare I say, Alex Simpson may have raced against him. They may have just missed paths. I'm not quite sure, where Alex was maybe part of the World Championship before and after when Chem was involved in it. But he was very competitive. He could get top 10s on occasion. I mean, against the likes of Kronke and Hutu and that level of driver. So he is one of the fastest drivers in sim racing, and he's also managed to forge himself a pretty nice real racing career as well. So superb to have him on the grid as well.
I'll take this opportunity to jump in. Sorry, I bring my mic in, and I like to be that annoying producer in the background. But yeah, I had a good race or two with Chem. We mixed it up on the track a fair few times. So yeah, definitely one of the best drivers out there. So and I'd like to put my hand up and say, I've beat Chem a few times. So
I mean,
I
considering
think I'd
he
have
was
fun
even
on this grid.
considering he was even close to you, Alex, he must be an exceptional driver to
Oh,
be
thank
close
you.
to your level. So I'm sure he's
You're
very capable.
you're trying to go
Yeah.
for a little promotion there, aren't you, Sam?
Just a little bit, just a little bit.
I wonder, obviously, one person's doing cameras and one's out on the track. What does that say?
Someone
no,
going
yeah,
for demotion, clearly.
yeah. Yeah, as Chem does a beautiful 360 on the back straight, so it's great to have Chem with us as well. But yeah, no, Victor Martins is the pace setter in practice, and now we will head into qualifying. 3 laps, 10 minutes, and the drivers have 3 attempts. They'll be on the track on their own, lone qualifying. If you're unfamiliar with it, so any off track, so if you run off the track, you will receive a 1x, and that will eliminate your lap time. But we mention it all the time that the tires are incredibly important in the V7 tire model, which require a lot of work to get up to temperature. And we always say, Sam, that 3 laps really is not enough time. It's not a lot of time to get tires with a temperature around here.
Yeah, absolutely not. And yeah, 10 minutes, 3 laps. Are they going to be able to do those 3 laps? I guess they'll just about have enough time, won't they? But it'll be pretty marginal. You think you have the out lap, and then you got to do 3 laps. So we'll just about make it, but won't have a whole lot of time to spare. So I'm sure the drivers have already jumped back onto circuit, and there are quite a few sectors currently being set. So it seems like pretty much everyone is on the track. Victor Martin's a little bit slow to get onto the track, and in fact, I don't think he is on the track at the moment, so he might miss out on a lap. There's Frederick Vesti spinning the car, which is quite a good tactic to do to warm up the tyres, and there was a big debacle about it in the iRacing world when the Porsche qualifying series was going on about how drivers who were spinning and burning, doing burnouts just to warm up their tyres. It is really tricky, so expect the drivers to get faster and faster as the session goes on. Now, of course, properly high loads on the tyres. We've seen tyre failures, of course, in various championships around this circuit in the past, which will, yeah, really be kind of just shows the amount of wear that these tyres go through. So they need to be absolutely perfect for you to be able to get that purchase on the circuit.
Yeah, so if we didn't mention it already, we are here at Silverstone. It's the full Grand Prix layout as Frederick Vesti enters Stoke Order, about to begin his lap. And let's see how he gets on. He is the championship leader, and we'll see if he can hold on to that championship lead, because of course the social media comes into effect too. But it's been really, really close all championship. So let's see what Frederick Vesti can do. Comes across the line, of course, you'd see a lot of times coming in now with green sectors, personal best. Purple means fastest of anyone, and yellow will mean that it is not an improvement on their own times. Of Vesti through sector 1, getting it stopped in the little infield, the newest part of the Silverstone circuit. We're heading back down towards the end of Brooklands. Brooklands on the turn left at the end of the Wellington Straight. Here's into the little kink down the Wellington Straight. Would be a DRS section, but we don't have DRS in these Formula 3 cars. So down towards Brooklands, which has the BRDC club on the right-hand side as you enter it, and then towards Luffield in the back of the circuit, and onto the old pit straight, which you may notice in the shortened layout is what is used as the grid and the pit lane. So now, right up here is a crucial part of the circuit, Sam, because it lined, essentially you need to be lining up passes for Stowe from here onwards.
Yes, it is really tricky to overtake into this part of the track, but you're absolutely right. You can line it up for Stowe by getting a good run through Maggots and Beckett and Chapel. So much fun this, and it's a fantastic grandstand as well on the left there. It's really one of the best grandstands, I think, on the circuit, because you can see a little bit of the new part. This is one of the few car track combinations. I must say, I haven't been to that many race circuits, but I did see Formula 3 cars around Silverstone, which is pretty cool. I don't usually get to properly say that I've commentated on the car track combination, but that is a unique instance here. And Slipstream on that occasion was absolutely massive. I think it should be quite a big effect here as well, because there are quite a few straights for these Formula 3 cars, and not a whole long kind of technical section for them to be able to pull away. ASCII then currently top of the standings, and he gets beaten then by Vesti, who puts a slightly better lap time in. 0.3 of a second clear at the moment, but plenty of the front runners yet to put in their first lap times, or maybe even getting their lap time invalidated. Nielsen got an invalidated lap time, so did Poole, and Bullock Bassi, I think, did as well.
Yeah, it looks like it. Chembolic Bassi, well, he managed to pop into fourth, so 151.3 with Zane Maloney quick as Victor Martin. Look how close that is. Unbelievable. 8,000s between the top three around the circuit, which is just nearly under, a smidge under at 2 minutes a lap. That is incredibly close. 5,000 between Zane Maloney and Zach O'Sullivan. Victor Martin's third, 8,000 behind. Frederick Vesti is 500s behind. So then you have Forshaw and Bullock Bassi in sixth. And then Paul Aaron, Billy Monger inside the top 10. Dion Gouda, De Vilde is 11th. Miguel Costellens, Kiffin Simpson, Justin Arsenault, and Frederick Luban. So I'm watching Kai Aski on his second lap in his second attempt. So they head towards Stowe Corner. He's on not quite an improvement. He's on an improvement in the middle sector with the green. So we'll see if he's not maybe going to improve it. See if he can improve in his last sector, but he's not currently going to improve his current time. He's sitting 7th. But there's a bit of a gap to him and Bullock Bassi, about 0.2 of a second. 100th between the top three alone, 600s between the top four. Forshaw is in there in 5th. We'll see if watch for Forshaw, we'll see if he can improve. Across the line, Kai Aski does not improve his time. And
he does.
Well, he does actually. He goes in front of Vesti. Good time, Kai Aski, with 300ths ahead of Frederick Vesti. Let's see. Now we're going to see a raft of improvements. Vesti through the last couple of corners. Paul Aaron, I think, has just gone fastest. Well, he's not quite. Pops into 5th. Look how that's unbelievably close. Frederick Vesti. Callan Williams now goes quickest. And then Frederick. Well, how about that for a lap from Frederick Vesti? 150.9. He goes 200s quicker. And now we look at Zane Maloney through the last corner and see if Zane can improve his time. He comes across the line. We wait and see. He's 0.2 behind Vesti, but he pops in 700ths behind, but he's got one more attempt. It's super close.
We saw this at Interlagos, didn't we, where pretty much the top 10 was separated by half second. Bullock Bassi, I think, has just moved up into 3rd. Martins goes 4th and was fastest in qualifying. And Martins will have time then for this 3rd lap time as well. So their lap times are about 1 minute 50 at the moment. So so really quick. So yeah, Forshaw actually puts himself to the front of the order. Apologies, missed that for Richard Forshaw then. Race 2 winner last time out at Interlagos. That's going to help his championship bid a lot. So 3/100ths of a second quicker. No purple sectors I'm seeing for Forshaw on that last lap, which is strange. So there is room for improvement for everyone else. So he is beatable.
Yeah, looks like it. He's sitting 5th. Now we look at Billy Monger, who is coming through there. Bites Kvisser as well, we mentioned as well, W Series driver. She's negotiating back into Beck just outside the top 10 at the moment. See what she can do. Heads towards the line. They're on their final qualifying laps now. The majority of them 7 minutes qualifying, 10 minutes total. 150.8 is the benchmark from Richard Forshaw, and he needs this. He needs to get in front of Vesti if he wants a chance at the title. There's 12 points between them in the standings, so Forshaw essentially needs to really outscore Vesti here today. Now Kai Aski goes 6th fastest. He pops ahead of Callum Williams, 10th behind. That's his last one. Zane Maloney's in the pit lane. He's probably invalidated his lap. Now, crucial one for Frederick Vesti. Is he going to improve? He comes through the last corner. Looks like he might go a little bit faster again. He comes across the line. We're waiting to see if he's gone faster. 150.7. He goes a 10th faster than Richard Forshaw. But is Forshaw on an improvement? We don't think he is. We'll have to wait and see as he comes across the line towards the last sector. Alfred Nilsson pops in front of Maloney, and he goes 3rd, 2/10 behind. Jem Bullock Bassi 5th on the grid at the moment. Bullock Bassi, is he going to improve his time? I don't think he has. Goes the 2nd fastest. Jem Bullock Bassi is 2nd now for sure. Cross line, has he done enough to displace Vesti? No, he hasn't. It's an improvement, but it's not enough. And Frederick Vesti, I think, has done it by 200ths of a second ahead of Jem Bullock Bassi. Richard Forshaw 3rd. Victor Martins, Alfred Nilsson, Maloney, O'Sullivan, Aski, Williams, and Paul Aaron will round out the top 10. He's enjoyed practicing starts there, but great job for Frederick Vesti. Well, how about that from Jem Bullock Bassi? First race in the series, and he's 2nd on the grid.
Yeah, that is absolutely terrific from him. He was only just short, wasn't he? Marius Zug, after fantastic qualifying at Interlagos, an invalidated lap time on this occasion. So he's going to be starting quite far down. There is Marius, but yeah, Vesti on pole position. He just managed to pull out that lap time. Just got faster and faster, didn't they, as the session went on? And Bullock Bassi with the fastest final sector of anyone got back 8/100ths of a second, 7/100ths of a second. needs to be a couple more hundredths of a second there if he was going to take pole. It's Vesti on pole then, Bullock Bassi in second. However, as long as these guys don't bite too much, like I said before, should be quite a slipstream orientated race. You've got the long run down the Wellington Straight, then you've got the run from Luffields to Copse, then you've got the run from Chapel down to Stowe, and then you've also got the pit straight as well. So as long as you don't make a mistake, you should be able to stay in the toe of your rival. So this is going to be an epic first race.
Yeah, it's an all crucial one. So obviously keep an eye on the Kokoro social medias for the championship standings at the end. But while we're sitting here waiting to go, take this opportunity to subscribe to Apex Racing TV and to the iRacing Esports Network to keep up to date with all the latest. You're watching the Kokoro Invitational Series in association with FP0 Simulators, and we're about to grid up for race number 1 and the second to last round of the championship coming up now. Frederick Vesti on pole position, the championship leader. Cem Bullock Bassi in his first race in the series, he's second. Richard Forshaw, Victor Martins, Alfred Nilsson, Zane Maloney, Zach O'Sullivan, Kai Askey, Callan Williams, and Paul Aaron as your top 10. Outside there, we're going to have a look. It's Ugo de Vilda, Gus Bowers, Dion Gouda, Beitske Visser, Lawrence Van Hopen, Justin Arsenault. Then it's Marius Zog, Billy Monger in 18th, Kyphon Simpson and Miguel Costa in 20th. And I think we'll just have a few more drivers. James Wharton, Alex Powell, Emo Fittipaldi Jr., Frederick Luban, Logan Cusson, James Pohl, Maximus Meyer, and Conrad Lawson. So everyone is going to make the feature, but it's all crucial that it's all down to the reverse grid, which is going to be the crucial part of this championship. Frederick Vesti on pole. I think we're just waiting for Cem Bullock Bassi to grid up.
Yeah, he'll be the last driver. He's got another minute to do so. Sometimes drivers do leave it quite a while. Just maybe making some edits to his setup. But Bullock Bassi, of course, with nothing to lose, already spoken about it a little bit before, he could be a big danger. So he is now on the grid, as is everyone else.
And here we go, the all-important heat race to decide the feature race grid. Here we go, heat race 1 here in the Kokoro Invitational Series is go. Frederick Vesti, good start. Bullock Bassi from the second one for sure, immediately to the inside. Martins follows him up the inside. Bullock Bassi second for sure, already starting to challenge Bullock Bassi in turn 1. Alfred Nilsson under pressure from Zane Maloney. O'Sullivan goes through on Maloney as they head towards turn 1. It's Bullock Bassi under pressure for sure up the inside. He takes second, and that can Martins follow him through there? I don't think he can. Bullock Bassi has another look again. They go 3 abreast in the background as O'Sullivan looks up the inside of Nilsson. Maloney around the outside, still 3 abreast in the background as they try to sort themselves out. But it's now Vesti for sure. Spinner in the background. Alfred Nilsson's around in the Wellington Straight. He's spun it at the end. I think there was contact with somebody there. Maloney's dropped down as well. But it's Vesti for sure. Bullock Bassi, Martins, Askey, who's now been overtaken by Callan Williams. Interesting stuff there, but Vesti got the best start he's held on so far.
Yeah, for sure, making that move on Bullock Bassi could be important, as now he's going to try to make up another place in that Dutch livery and goes to the outside. Is he going to be able to make this move? Should have the overspeed. I think he'll have his nose ahead potentially, but going to have to back out of it. It's a car number 2, but he sticks around the outside. That's not going to have the better line there. I think for Maggots and Beckett's has good drive though, coming out of Kopp's corner. And he's got to be looking at his mirrors as well with Bullock Bassi trying to reclaim that second place, which might be possible going into Chapel. But now Bullock Bassi is offline himself, and he might lose out to Victor Martins just behind. Martins now makes it so instead he's going to get the draft from the top 2 drivers. That constantly changing positions there, and actually moves to Bullock Bassi. You can see how narrow these cars are, how small these cars are, and they've got so much of this hanger straight to use for their disposal. Bullock Bassi does defend, but they need to be looking ahead, not looking at one another. But so they are looking at one another. Then he goes back down the inside, does Martins, and he does make that move into Bell. It was a pretty good move in the end, but they're now 1 second off the top 2, and that is out of draft change.
Yeah, exactly. So if the drop back, all that battling has really cost them time. So it's Vesti from Forshaw, but Forshaw's all over the back of Vesti, running through Abbey. There he goes. These are the championship rivals fighting it out. They need a spot in this one. Vesti defends, Forshaw to the outside. It's going to be a really race-long battle here in Silverstone. 11 laps of this we have. Forshaw to the outside. Now going to try and get the cut back underneath Vesti. There are 2 FIA Formula 3 drivers battling it out in the virtual world, but that's brought Victor Martins right back into this now. He's right lashed onto the back, and Bullock Bassi is in there. Callum Williams is into 5th now as they all form a train. Ugo de Vilda is up to 6th. He's fighting with Callum Williams, but for sure to the outside of Brooklands. He's going to be able to sweep around the outside. We've seen it attempted so many times, not quite there. Into Luffield, now to the outside, but Martins is right there now. He's latched onto them now. Bollock Bassi, and now Callum Williams is 1.8 behind. They continue to fight. They all get on the gravel on the exit as Vesti gets a little bit on the gravel. Forshaw gets on the gravel a bit as well. Martin's in the slipstream now. Here comes Forshaw again. He tried this a lap earlier. Straight to the concrete wall. Forshaw to the outside of Cop's corner. Not quite close enough this time. Now trying to get it back up underneath him for Magnussen Beckett's in a run. This is just going to be a race-long thing. We're going to see Vesti defends. Forshaw to the outside of Magnussen Beckett's. Is he going to be able to stick around the outside? He's going to have to think about it. I think he's just about a smidge ahead as they run through the side-by-side through there. But Vesti's going to hold on. Martin's up the inside as they go through. But Martin's hold on. Bollock Bassi's now got the run as they come through. You see there, Alfred Nilsson 30-second stop goal for the contact with Zane Maloney on lap 1 from race control there. But here we go. Forshaw's got the outside for Stowe corner now. Martins is looking for space as well. Look at the squeeze put on from Vesti, and Forshaw's going to have a go all the way around the outside of Stowe corner. What a move, Richard Forshaw. He's got it done, but Vesti is going to come back at him into the middle section. Can he get a stick around the outside like Charles Leclerc did? Not quite. Richard Forshaw, brilliant overtake, and he takes the lead.
That was absolutely sublime, wasn't it? Around the outside, he had the momentum and took a sweeping line. You see Zug up into 7th place. He's up 10 places. I said they qualified a little bit lower. And Williams catching by 2 seconds on that last lap. He's going to be with these guys. He is with these guys. He's 6/10 of a second behind. Askey going with them as well. As to the inside now for the lead. And there's surely going to be contact on this occasion. Oh, they were lucky there. I thought Martins was going to make contact at Chapel on the last lap when he had a look at Vesti. And look at how Bollock Bassi nearly got past. Bollock Bassi's going to lose out now to Williams, who moves up into 4th place. He was out of this race just a moment ago, but all this batsing has brought him right back in the wall. Bollock Bassi's in the wall now, and that is just by the bridge. And fortunately, no one else is going to hit him. Doesn't seem to have all the wheels attached, so he should be able to get back out on circuit. But massive shame for him, so that promotes everyone up a place then. As off the circuit, I think just ahead, Vesti and Forshaw and Martins. Martins very close to Forshaw, couldn't quite make the move. I assume it was the Dutch driver who was off the circuit for a moment. As we're going to see a replay of what happened to Bollock Bassi. He'd been able to make this move almost on the car number 92 of Victor Marketons. Kind of had to get out of it. Then there's contact. I wonder how much damage he had at this point, because surely that wheel is not going to be very secure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, rear left suspension. And straight in the wall, and that's such a shame for Cem Bollock Bassi. He was right fighting with the lead all the way through, just a broken rear left suspension. That's how vicious the damage model is. But Vesti has retaken the lead into Brooklands. We saw just a glimpse of it now, but Forshaw is now back to 2nd. Victor Martins still in there, but Callum Williams is closing in the background with Kai Askey on his tail. Marius Zug has done a good job to get to 6th as well. De Vilde, Visser, Dion Goud and James Poll are your top 10. We just saw in the midst of that battle Alfred Nilsson receiving a penalty, so obviously himself and Maloney came to blows on lap 1. That's obviously what we saw on lap number 1, but on lap 4 of 11 we start, and let's see if we can see the move from Vesti.
Yep, so it was the long way round, wasn't it? Round the outside at Brooklands. You usually see this. Oh, so that was the mistake then, and then it was Vesti kicked up to the gravel. So I saw a load of gravel being kicked up. I just assumed because it was a poor run for Forshaw that it was Richard's gravel, but actually it was Vesti having to go off the circuit to make the pass. So now actually opened up that gap slightly. It's up to 7/10 of a second, and strangely Forshaw not following in his tracks. He isn't too interested in that draft. Maybe has confidence in that he can make up that gap anyway. But it's leaving him vulnerable right now to Martins. Williams not quite making the same progress that he was earlier on. I think he's been battling with Askey quite a bit, which has cost them time. 7/10 of a second now between the leads, and Forshaw not gaining down this old pit straight. So maybe he's just lost that draft a little bit, and as long as Vesti can put in some good times, this might be his break.
Yeah, definitely. Forshaw was extremely lucky. It was a very nice catch, because if he lost it, Vesti was completely out of it. But it was really brave stuff from Vesti to keep his foot in it, even though he saw that Forshaw was completely sideways out of the left field. So good driving from the both of them. Forshaw leaving the space. We see all the drivers piling through. This is Lawrence Van Huppen. We're kind of looking as all these guys file through Maggots and Beckett. This is Lawrence Van Huppen with Paul Aaron behind him. We go back to Forshaw now, who's again, yeah, you're right. He's not really catching, and he's not able to catch up to him. Martins is kind of sticking in there too. I wonder, is he just biding his time now, controlling himself a little bit, because the battling is costing him so much time. If he just sticks in there for obviously a few more laps, then obviously mount an attack later on.
yeah, it might be the thing to do. Leave it a little bit longer. Vesti with the, well, not the fast up. The race was for a moment, but sure, though, a little bit quicker. And now that time is going down a little bit through turn 1 and 2, which is so easy flat now for these cars. They have actually re-profiled that corner in real life with the 17th track surface change in the past 5 years, and so that's actually a lot more easy to do those first couple of corners now. They've widened the kind of little straight between the two parts, but in these cars anyway, even with the slightly tighter version, it's still easy flat for these drivers, and a real slipstream overtaking opportunity. 6.5 tenths of a second. Now Williams on that last lap did a 51.1. It's only 2 tenths of a second slower than the race leaders, and managed to continue to make great progress. He's in 6th, a little bit by himself now, so if he could win a race 1 from 17th on the grid, then gosh, we're seeing some great things this season. That would be that would take the mantle.
James Pull up 16 places. He started right down the back to James Pull. He's up to 10th now. Pretty nice job from James. We know how quick he is, so we'll see how he gets on later. But obviously the reverse grid we'll have later. Top 20 will get inverted. Just having a look now. So right now, Conrad Lawson is going to be in that pole position for the reverse, and Chen Bollock Bassi isn't going to be in too bad shape either. He's 19th currently, so he might be able to get himself back up to the front. Zach O'Sullivan as well. All these guys ended up in incidents earlier on, and they're now kind of in box seat for the feature. But we're just seeing now Forshaw has brought the gap down just a smidge, 4/10 of a second the gap now. Easy starting to open it up a little bit more, because it's a 20-minute race / 11 laps, whichever we get to first, and we start lap 6. So it's actually quite a long race when you think about it. A long lap. 150.7 for Forshaw, 150.8, 150.8. So Forshaw is the fastest of the top 3.
This might be quite similar to what they used to run in the Formula 3 Championship, and of course now that all that changes with the Euro F3 and GP3 combining. So a couple of races now that they have, but this is pretty similar, I think, to what they had in European Formula 3 a couple of years ago with this length of race. It should be 11 laps anyway within the 20 minutes, I imagine, with a 1 minute and 50 lap time. So should be able to get all the laps in, as now for sure is well within draft range. So that's been great driving from the Dutch driver to be able to get back within draft range. They're now actually 7 tenths of a second tail of Martins. However, if Vesti is caught by Forshaw, then you kind of know that they're just going to start fighting again. And the likes of Martins, Williams, Askey, Zug, maybe even Wild and Bisa will be right back into the battle. And, well, this battle's being pretty good right now as well. Gouda onto the back of Vista. Another Dutch driver versus the only Singaporean driver on the track. And overtaking ground here is at a premium, but it is so easy to overtake into Stowe. Outside, inside, everything is possible. So when you're this far back going onto the hangar straight, you're going to fancy your chances.
Yeah, this is exactly what we want to see. Dion Gouda, the young Singaporean character, versus Bijtske Visser, the Dutch W Series driver. So they're mixing it up with motorsport greats here. Dion Gouda, see if he can get up underneath her here as they come down towards the last corner. Not quite going to be able to do that, but this is what we absolutely love about series like this. Is Gouda has a little think about it. He goes round the outside. Is he going to be able to make that work? That is a lovely move from Dion Gouda, but Bijtske Visser back up underneath him. Great fighting here. Almost exactly a carbon copy of what we saw at the British Grand Prix in F1 just a year ago. And exactly like Leclerc and Verstappen what we're witnessing here.
Oh, and that's an off, and that's going to be across the grass. That could be more contact, however, just about getting onto the tarmacs off there, and that is Hopen now running wide. He wasn't in that battle, was he? Before, the battle was between Visser and Gouda, and actually I think Gouda not losing a whole lot of time now. I'm surprised, because that was nearly straight off into the barrier. Meanwhile, Williams having to defend against Askey. We've also got Gouda coming back again then. Visser has defended brilliantly so far. Gouda, I think, was the one who had the off just a moment ago. And we've got a spinner as well for, is that Costa? No, it was Hopen. Oh, so he's having an awful lap right now. Lawrence Van Hopen losing a few places on this lap. Fortunately for him, he's now got a little bit of air behind him. So we go back to this battle. Askey has been faster for a few laps than Williams, but both of them are very quick on that last lap. 4 tenths of a second slower than the race leaders, but matching the P3 driver of Martins. That they're no slouches, but and I must say, I hope these guys don't fight, because if Vesti and Forshaw do start fighting, then they're going to be in the battle for the lead within a couple of laps.
Yeah, so they've really got to work it out. But now James Pull has brought himself into this battle, so he's on the back of Dion Gouda now as well. Bicycle Visser now leading this train. Paul Aaron's right in the back as well. Look how late on the brakes that he went there. It looks a touch wide though, so he might get it under pressure from Paul Aaron. He's right on his tail as well. Head towards the last couple of corners. Pull is up 26 places where he started. 16 places where he started. He started in 26th place. So you see the times now starting to dip into the 51s. They were in the 50s before, so starting to just ease off a little bit now. Bicycle Visser on a personal best, 52.6, but these guys are absolutely flying behind it. Dion Gouda still trying to find a way past her here, but she's defending absolutely brilliantly at the moment. We'll see if she can hold on versus the young Singaporean card. He has a little think about a move, but Visser's wise to that. And now to the Wellington Straight. Now look at this, they're all nose to tail as they come towards the Wellington Straight. So let's see if Visser is going to be able to hold off a massive attack here from the 3 drivers. She goes defensive, goes to the inside as they head towards Brooklands here. Is he going to be able to come around the outside? Has he found a space on the inside? Visser covers it, but Gouda's going to have a go all around the outside. He's found the space around the outside. He's still there. Visser gives him the squeeze. Paul Aaron looking on James Pull around the outside of Love Field. Really tricky move. Vesti did it earlier. Can Paul Aaron do that big slide from James Pull? And through goes Paul Aaron around the outside. But Visser's still under severe pressure here from Dion Gouda as he moves to the concrete wall. Back to the outside line towards Cop's Corner. He's going to be able to go around the outside. No. Visser is just shutting the door firmly as he head towards Maggots and Beckers. Now he's still going to try and stick his nose in on the inside of Maggots. Is he going to be able to do this one? Not quite. She's still holding on for dear life here. But a brilliant defensive display from Bicycle Visser. A slight mistake from James Pull. But Visser, one hell of a defensive drive she's showing right here.
Yeah, this was absolutely awesome right now, defending to the inside into every single one of these corners. Meanwhile, out in the lead, car number 1 and position number 1 versus car number 2 and position number 2, Forshaw round the outside into Vale. There's a few laps still to go, 3 laps to go. Doesn't have to make the move right now, Forshaw. In fact, you might not want to be in the lead as Visser has had an issue back down to 12th place. That's such a shame. Wonder if there's a little bit of contact involved, but Vesti is defending for all he is worth. This is what happened to Visser then. The 47 behind her of Gouda, who went down the inside, and eventually there was contact and a lot of damage on that car. I think that front wheel was still on as here comes Vesti. He's going to lose the position surely to Forshaw, but it should be a better exit for the driver on the outside. Martins is now with these guys, and there's almost contact, I think, and it's 3 wide through the middle. Goes Victor Martins. This would be a heroic move. Surely it's going to be the driver on the inside. He's going to have the advantage. Forshaw does make that move done, and Vesti loses 2 places, but now tries to retrieve one of them back into 2nd position as he got the run out. We've seen this tight line through Brooklands. Not worked so far for many drivers, but it has worked for him there. But Forshaw with the lead temporarily, we've still got a long way to go. Now this is a 5-car battle for the race win.
Oh, Martin's almost getting into the back of Vesti there. He had to twitch away. Here comes Callan Williams, the Australian, is now in this one. And he's got a run on Victor Martins. Is he going to be able to come around the inside? He's got it done into Maggots and Beckett. So it's a Formula 3 top 3 as we head on to lap number 10 next time by. Victor Martins is in 4th, and Kai Aski's right in this one too. He's latched onto Victor Martins, but for sure retakes the lead. So it's a Formula 3 top 3. Formula Renault Eurocup is 4th, and French Formula 4 are all in there. So all the single-seaters are all in the top 5 as we head on to lap number 10. But for sure has crucially retaken that lead on Vesti as they battle it out here. Now he's going to be able to see if he can get away, break the draft with only 2 laps left to run across the line. Going to be really tricky, but they've got to watch out for Callan Williams, who's been biding his time, just watching these guys all race long. He got the job done on Martins after he made a mistake, but Vesti has got a fantastic run out of the last corner. Look at this. Is he going to be able to make it work into Abbey? He's on the outside line. For sure he's going to shut that off surely as they head towards turn 2 into turn 3. Vesti going to have a think about it, but he's got to think about the Wellington Straight as well. He moves to the outside. For sure defends that one. Williams looks, has a think about it up the inside through to the next part of the circuit. Then Vesti looking for the cutback line. Barton's back up the inside of Callan Williams. Has he got that job done? He's caught him on the hop, and I think he's got him. He has. Martins gets back ahead of Callan Williams, but as they head towards Brooklands, he might come back at him here. We've got to keep our eye on the leaders as well as Forshaw defends. Back to the outside line. What's Vesti going to do? Is he just going to fall? He's going to have a pop at him. Down the inside into Brooklands. Not contact. They managed to hold on. Forshaw holds on for now. Is now still in front of Callum Williams. And now Kayaski firmly in there. Vesti looking for a gap on the exit, but he hasn't quite got it. This is an incredible battle we're witnessing.
It is absolutely superb. I wonder if you want to be in second place right now at this point of the race. Martin's getting back past Williams, of course, and as he gets right involved, to the outside goes Vesti, going to get the cutback perhaps for Cops, but the run into Magnus and Beckett just isn't long enough for the trailing car to go for the overtake. Oh, he goes down the inside. That's an incredible move, and well, I must say, probably not the smartest move either. It would have been the move of the season, without doubt, if he pulled it off, but now he's under pressure from Martins. You just wonder, was that a bit of impatience for Vesti? We still had a lap and a bit to go. He's still just about within the draft of Forshaw, but he's now got to defend from Martins instead. There he goes to the inside, and this is what Forshaw needs. However, Martins lets out of it. He knows that he wants to win this race, and I think he's going to stay behind Vesti if he needs to, so that they can get back up to the race here. But the gap is up to 0.6 of a second, as we are going to about to see the white flag.
Unbelievable. This is only the first race as well. There's still another one to come, and it's reverse grid. Here we go. Richard Forshaw across the line. White flag in the air. Vesti in second. Martins in third. Williams fourth. And Kayaski fifth. There's your top five. They've been nose to tail for the entire race duration. Vesti had a pop down into Maggots and Beck. Not quite going to be able to work. So now he's got to think about where he's going to do it next. He's still within 0.4 of a second of Forshaw. But Forshaw, has he just done enough to keep himself ahead? Because Vesti's got to worry about Victor Martins as well. To go on board with Victor Martins, the around a Euro Cup driver now down the Wellington straight. Forshaw immediately defensive to the inside. We saw this all race long. It's a classic move. Vesti's not going to be close enough to try anything here, and neither is Martins unless he has a monumental dive bomb. Dion Gouda, 30-second stop go for contact with bicycle Vista. We saw that on the replay. So Gouda has received a penalty for that one, but we keep our eyes on this one because this has been non-stop all race long. Forshaw, Vesti and Martins. Vesti and Forshaw are the title contenders. Forshaw really needs to outscore Vesti here to keep himself in contention. He's got just enough of a gap at the moment, but really Vesti just needs to keep himself right in that toe until they get to Stowe Corner. So here we go, Vesti wide there. He's trying to find every bit of circuit that he can towards Maggots and Beckett's for the last time in the heat race one. Who is going to get this one? Through Maggots, through Beckett's, and into Chapel. Vesti needs the run through here. He needs the run through Chapel. It's so crucial. Vesti's a touch wide. I don't think he's quite got it as they head down towards Stowe Corner for the final time. I think Forshaw might just have enough here. He's going defensive, moving to the outside and moving back to the inside, back to the outside again. I think he's just about done enough, and Martins is under pressure from Callum Williams as they head towards Stowe. There's contact. Oh, Williams off into the gravel, into the wall. Contact with Martins, and such an unfortunate incident. Callum Williams is out. Vesti has to think about it into the last couple of corners. Forshaw is wide. He's now going to go deep. Vesti's going to try and get a run on him through the last corner, but I think Forshaw has just done enough. Richard Forshaw wins the heat race one by just 0.09 of a second across the line. Vesti in second, Martins third, and Kayaski. Marius Zug in fifth place, and Ugo de Vilde, Paul Aaron, Miguel Costa, James Pohl, and Lawrence Van Huppen are your top 10. What a battle, but what's so unfortunate for Callum Williams into Stowe Corner. Contact between himself and Victor Martins.
And it was just that move, wasn't it, from Vesti going into Maggots and Beckett's on the penultimate lap, which dropped him 0.7 of a second back, and he didn't quite have enough time to come back. This was the instant there for Williams. Did he turn in? Oh, a lot of netcode, and of course, obviously, he's based down under, and I believe, well, it doesn't take, you don't have to be a genius to realise it's a long way for that signal to carry over. So shame for those guys. Where did he finish? 18th. Well, you know what? He will be starting on the second row of the grid for the reverse grid race coming up in a bit. So it's not the end of the world for him, but what a win for Richard Forshaw. He timed that perfectly. He overtook when he needed to. And Marius Zug as well, finishing in 5th place with that late retirement, up 12 places. So Costa up 12 places, and Pohl ended up 17 places up. So thanks to plenty of incidents, of course, behind, but those guys drove a brilliant race.
Yep, and that's only the first heat race, may we remind you. So that's a crucial one for Richard Forshaw with the points gap. He's 12 points behind. Just to do a quick little bit of maths here. He's 12. He was 12 points behind before, so he should get a nice little bit of points there. 25 versus 18 for Vesti. It's going to come right down to that wire in this last heat race, and what makes it even more interesting is that they've got to come from essentially the back of the grid to try and sort this out. So here we go. There is the final standings of Heat Race 1. Richard Verschoor takes Frederick Vesti by just a 10th of a second across the line. Victor Martins did great in 3rd place. Kai Aski just held on for 4th place. Marius Zug in 5th. De Wilde in 6th. Paul Aaron, Miguel Costa, James Pohl, and Lawrence Van Hoppen are your top 10. Then James Horton, Alex Powell, Beitske Visser after contact, Gus Bowers, Zach O'Sullivan, Emo Jr. Fittipaldi, Dion Gauda, Callum Williams after the incident in Stoke going on the last lap is 18th. And then on reverse grid pole, front row, would be Conrad Lawson and Justin Arsenault. And just outside there was Alfred Nilsson, Kipling Simpson. Really unfortunate for Chem Bollock Bassi. He would have been right in there as well, which is really unfortunate. Logan Cusson, Billy Monger, Zane Maloney as well, another quick driver that we haven't seen at all today. Not much. Frederick Luban and Maximus Meyer will be the last classified finisher in this one. But a crucial one for Richard for sure there. But an interesting front row we've got now, because we've got Justin Arsenault and Conrad Lawson, but Callum Williams is right up there, so he's going to be really quick coming from 18th, or 3rd actually.
Zach O'Sullivan from 6th on the grid as well, so he's going to be dangerous. Of course, race winner last time out. Visser might be one to watch out for as well. Visser's defense particularly was very strong in race 1, so if she can keep behind some of the front runners from race 1 in this race 2, then that could be quite a cork in the bottle potentially, so watch out for that. Just currently in the warm-up session for this race 2, so I have a 5-minute break, which is absolutely right. It'd be absolutely horrendous, I imagine, for the Jazz to jump from one race to another straight away. This is a little bit of a cool down and preparing their starts. I spoke to Dane Baird the other day when we were actually at this circuit, I think, and he said the one thing he'd be practicing right now is your race start. It's not too difficult to get these Formula 3 cars off the line, but it is so essential for these drivers to get a good start. We saw James Poole, for example, gaining, I think, about 12 places just on lap 1 of race 1. If you can do that, it makes your job for this reverse grid so much easier.
Exactly, yeah. So obviously before the new tyre model came in, the starts were pretty simple. You just floor it and away you go from the line. But now you've really got to balance the revs. You got to make sure that you don't get wheel spin. So it is crucial that you get these cars off the line correctly. But obviously these Formula 3 cars are actually really nice to get off the line in comparison to other cars. TCR car in particular is very difficult to get off the line because front wheel drive. But with these ones, not too much of a problem. But still, it's still all about reaction time, and it's all about that. So while we're in the warm-up, take this opportunity, if you're watching at home, thank you for joining us for the Kokoro Invitational Series in association with FP0 Simulators. Make sure to subscribe to Apex Racing TV and to the iRacing Esports Network to keep up to date with all the action from Silverstone here today in the final round, the very last race of the season, which is quite unbelievable. This series has really flown by, I must say, in these past couple of weeks. They've had obviously 2 rounds per week. But it's really been interesting, and I think what this has shown, Richard Verschoor, actually, this is, I think, a real marker of the series. Richard Verschoor is the first repeat winner in the series in the final week. I think that says a lot, Sam.
Yeah, and we love series like this, where you kind of look back at the results and you think, hang on, no one's actually won twice so far this season, have they? It is quite exceptional for that to be the case. I mean, it came so close to, of course, last time out into Lagos with O'Sullivan. Should have won a couple of races, only won race 1 though in the end. But yeah, that is just a mark of the competitiveness, and we've seen it in qualifying in particular, and we saw it in that race 1 as well. How there were really 5 drivers who could have won that, not to mention all the others got taken out in turn 1 as well. I mean, dare I say, even a couple of the drivers who got involved in those collisions at the start of race 1, you'll be starting 24th, 25th. Even those guys aren't going to be that far off the front by the end of this race, so should be a really good one. And yeah, this Silverstone circuit offering up fantastic racing again. I can't wait for what Kokoro have in mind. I mean, GT cars would be pretty exciting, but whatever they do, when you have real life drivers, it really adds a level to the competitiveness, doesn't it? Because you know that they're taking it seriously, you know that they are brilliant drivers. I mean, if they're a little bit off the pace, it's just because they haven't maximized the sim yet. So it's fantastic to have these real world driver grids on our screens.
Yeah, make the most of it while you have it, because it's a really rare sight to see a grid this size with this many pro drivers on it. But we come to the end of warm up or cool down, whatever you want to call it, as we look over the Silverstone circuit. up here. The old runway is actually just visible there. It was obviously an old airfield back in the day, and it's now, of course, being used for the wonderful sport of motor racing. So, of course, held the very first F1 race back in 1950. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen, settle in for this one. Justin Arsenault on pole position for the final round. Conrad Lawson in second. Watch out for the two guys on the second row. Callum Williams and Dion Gowda, really quick drivers. Emo Jr. Fittipaldi in fifth place, and Zach O'Sullivan, watch out for him. He is really wanting that race win again. Gus Bowers, remember, he's always thereabouts as Gus. Beitske Visser in eighth, Alex Powell and James Wharton. Then it's Lawrence Van Huppen, James Pohl, Miguel Costa, Paul Aaron, Ugo de Vilda, Marius Zug, Kai Aski, and the guys we need to watch, Frederick Vesti and Richard Verschoor on 19th and 20th on the grid, respectively. But Justin Arsenault, the first time he's been on pole position, Conrad Lawson next to him, and they've got Callum Williams, who got contact on the final lap last time. He's in third. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with. He's a race winner as well, don't forget, from Barber. Now watch out for Dion Gowda. He's also a race winner, won all the way back in Barcelona in round one. But here we go. The lights are about to come on for the final round of the Kokoro Invitational Series at Silverstone. We are go. Good start, Arsenault. Better start from Lawson from the second, but a brilliant start from Callum Williams, who gets him straight away as they come towards turn one. Williams to the outside line as they head towards turn one. I think Williams has already got ahead as they run through turn one. It's Lawson behind him. Great start, Callum Williams. He's into the lead. Lawson behind. Gus Bowers into third as they fight it out behind. Arsenault dropping back. Fittipaldi does contact. I think that's Dion Gowda who's been involved in that one as they all head round. Zach O'Sullivan has to take to the escape, and James Pohl now trying to get through as well. Dion Gowda is still fighting. That wasn't Gowda who got pulled around. There's another driver in the background. So it's Williams at an absolutely fantastic getaway. Lawson, Bowers, Arsenault, Visser up to fifth. She's now going to the outside for fourth place. Gus Bowers looking for second. And in the middle is James Wharton trying to make his way through as well. But Visser with a fantastic getaway as well. But what's a start from Callum Williams to get round the outside of both Lawson and Arsenault into turn one. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, we know he was practicing his starts. That was exceptional there from Williams, and it was easy for him in the end to get past those drivers. He was well clear going into turn one. Biker Visser already as the 30-second stop go penalty. Hopefully she'll serve that straight away, because maybe we want to see her interfering in this battle potentially. Saying that, unfortunately, she's going to be out of the running. It was then from the third place driver, and it was just absolutely perfect. Just hitch it up. And away you go. I mean, Fernando Alonso would be flat out of that one. Had to go a little bit to the grass, but I mean, that was remarkable, wasn't it? And just really nice control over the pedals right there. Gus Bowers then up into second position. He's on the tail. Apologies, not on the tail of Williams, because Williams has got a 1.5 second lead. Bowers is under pressure from Arsenault though. Oh, big off for Conrad Lawson. And that was heavy into the barriers, and a tow back to the pits for him. What about the championship challengers?
Vesti's out.
Vesti's out then, so Verschoor is in 13th place now. So, I mean, is that the end of Vesti's championship then?
It's just another contact with Lawson, but it looks like it, as Vesti was it. So we'll have a look and see what happened to Frederick Vesti here.
So there was a few different incidents here. I mean, 5 or 6, look at that. And Vesti, he tried so hard, didn't he, to stay out of it, and then it's just a little clumsy incident in the end which takes him out. Such a shame, because he didn't deserve that. He did superb to avoid the incidents in the first place, and you can see the amount of smoke coming off there. That's probably the flaw, if anything. And well, he'll get a fast spare. Hopefully he'll take the check flag, because that's no way to win the season.
Yeah, I tell you who's been the fastest of the guys who started below. It's Victor Martins, up to 7th place. He started, don't forget, he started right with the guys at the back. He started with Verschoor, and he started with Vesti as well. So he's on great. He's on a fantastic track right now. He's got Zach O'Sullivan right up his tail though as well, who's got something to prove after Interlagos, of course, as they head towards Stowe Corner. He ends up the inside Martins with Dion Gowda trying to come round his outside. He's done well to hold on as Dion Gowda right there, and I think he's managed to get ahead. Has Gowda there. It's a really nice job, but O'Sullivan now trying his best to get past. You've got to watch out for Ugo de Vilda as well, who's up 5 positions as well. But Victor Martins, as you can see the position gains there, he's up 11 places from where he started already. So it's been a brilliant stuff. James Wharton, and he's got a penalty for that contact with Conrad Lawson we saw into Stoke Corner. But now you see Dion Gowda on James Pohl up ahead. He's trying to go around the outside of James. I think James is trying to pull out of the way, actually, because it looks like he's gone quite slowly. And they all go through. Martins goes through, O'Sullivan goes through, De Vilda goes through. Into the pit lane comes James Wharton to serve. his penalty, which promotes Dion Gauda to 4th place, brings Martins to 5th. And we'll just keep an eye on Forshaw. He is in 12th, but Callum Williams is absolutely flying out front. 151.5. Gus Bowers in 2nd place, podium finisher in Interlagos, and he's sitting in there. But Callum Williams, I think it was almost a blessing that he ended up in the wall in Stone, the last corner, because he's got a completely free track out in front of him, and I don't think he's going to have a challenge at all come this race.
Yeah, if he wanted a race win, then that was the way to do it, wasn't it? Unfortunately, of course, in terms of points, it might affect him on day. There's a decent chance he would have been involved in an instant at turn 1 anyway, so managed to avoid all of that, and he is sprinting away at the moment. Crucially, he's 5 seconds ahead of Martins, apologies. So 11 lap race, maybe could be caught side by side now with the drivers just behind Martins, both Sullivan and Gauda, both very accomplished drivers, both race winners so far this season. And it's O'Sullivan who moves ahead then, who had to go miles off the circuit at the start of the race. It was a real shame for him. I think he was on course for perhaps being in the top 3 by the end of the lap 1, but had to take a lot of evasive action. At least he doesn't seem to have too much damage on that car. And Gauda just struggling at the moment. Wild is now onto his tail, and there'll be Forshaw as well onto these guys basically. He's only 3 seconds back.
Yeah, De Vilde, of course, Josh was saying that if he managed to get a race win, he could clinch the title with the Insta Boost as well. So we've got to watch out for De Vilde. Dion Gauda holding on well. So Sullivan is now ahead of him, crucially. So Sullivan's on a charge trying to keep with Victor Martin, who is on a massive push. He's come from, I think it was 17th on the grid to 4th. And just keep an eye on Chen Bolak-Batsi up to 12th as well. And just where is our championship leader? Forshaw is 9th. So Forshaw is 9th, and Frederick Vesti all the way down in 21st. There is Richard Forshaw. He's kept out of trouble so far, and he's in 9th place. But Callum Williams all the way up in the lead at the moment on a 151.1. Gus Barrett is keeping pace for them, to be fair, 151.2. And they're all setting very similar lap times. And Emma Fittipaldi Jr. in 10th. We look back at Callum Williams. I think he's just controlling the pace now. We've saw him in this position before, where he's just kept the gap enough. It happened to Barber. He managed to just hold off everybody, just keeping himself at a decent 2-second gap, and he's doing that at the moment. But Chen Bolak-Batsi in 12th with the fastest lap, and that could prove crucial because there is a point for fastest lap, and it could come into effect later as O'Sullivan now going down the inside of Victor Martins, and he's got it stopped and he's got it done. So O'Sullivan on a big charge. We know how quick this man is. He's on it away now, and let's see if he can clinch a podium result here today.
Sullivan passing, I mean, you could say that Martins was in 3rd place, wasn't he, in race 1, fighting for the race win, and O'Sullivan's just driven around him. That's how quick Zach O'Sullivan is, but it was a poor qualifying from him, which put him in trouble at the start of race 1, and a troublesome start of race 2 as well for O'Sullivan. So what could have been day for him, what could have been end of the season, I think, for him, because all his last 3 races have been compromised. But he is only 5.2 seconds off the lead. He needs to hope that Williams and Bowers start to fight later on in the race. And what could have been for Bolak-Batsi as well, of course, that fast lap as you were mentioning. Outside the top 10 though, because in Formula 1, if you get the fast lap but you're outside the top 10, you don't get the bonus point. Do you know if that's a factor in here? As I think, I imagine they're following it closely enough, so probably won't get the bonus point. But of course, he will take the fast lap of other drivers. I imagine it's going to be beaten anyway. There it is, O'Sullivan with a 50.8. That was a bit of a toe effect as well. I think he got towed down the Wellington Straight, which helped him out. And well, just so he sets the fast lap of the race, we wouldn't know it because Martins is onto the back of him. So hopefully these guys work together because they are an explosive duo.
Yeah, looking like it so far. We're right on board with Victor Martins now, following that Carlin rear wing of Zach O'Sullivan. They're catching Justin Arsenault quite quickly, the Canadian, in 3rd place at the moment. He's 3 seconds off the back of Bowers, who's just driving away a little bit. He's trying to keep pace with Callum Williams. But these guys, as you mentioned, yeah, they do need to work together if they want to have a chance of maybe trying to catch Williams later on in the race on lap 5 of 11. But it's a big gap, 5 seconds to close down, as Dion Gauda and Alex Powell are having their own little spat there. But Forshaw is 9th, Fittipaldi 10th, Bolak-Batsi is now 11th. So let's see if he can get a top 10 result of this Bolak-Batsi on his debut. It'd be great. It's a shame that he ends up with the suspension damage on the first race. is recovering quite well at the moment. We stick with Zach O'Sullivan and Victor Martins as they head through Maggots and Beckett's for the 5th time, trying to catch up to Arsenault. Is just a touch wide on the exit there. So we'll see if he's going to be able to make a mounted move here, but just looks like Martin maybe is just going to use O'Sullivan a little bit here, trying to get up to Arsenault here. We saw De Wilde make a move on Gouda a lap earlier, so De Wilde is 6th now, 2 seconds off the back. So if these guys have a massive spat, De Wilde could come into play here.
Yeah, he could certainly bring himself back into contention. De Wilde on that last lap set a 51.87, which is a little bit slower. Williams with a 51.51 on that last lap, which is a little bit slow. You can see 0.7 of a second lost to Sullivan. I guess they would have to keep that up to the end of the race. And they got Arsenault now. He's driving absolutely superbly. Is the Canadian. I had a friend called Jean-Francois Arsenault actually on iRacing, who I'm sure is absolutely no relation whatsoever. But I always think of that whenever I see his name. So O'Sullivan will be 0.2 of a second behind going onto the Wellington Straight, so a good chance into Brooklands. I don't think Arsenault will put up too much of a fight. He is Canadian after all, notoriously polite, and that was quite polite as well. To let past O'Sullivan. Martins next to get past as well. He cannot afford to lose any time, but Martins actually struggling to stay close. But the slipstream effect, like I said earlier on, is pretty powerful. Arsenault, if he's wise and if he's quick, might be able to stay in the draft of O'Sullivan for about the next lap or so. That's not going to help running wide at Cops.
Yeah, looking like he's just struggling with a little bit of understeer through there, because now Martins is right on him there as they head through Maggots and Beckett's for the 6th time. We saw Gus Bauer was a little bit quicker than Callum Williams that time, and these guys lapping, of course, quicker than the leaders, but it's not going to be enough. They need to be lapping substantially faster to catch up to Callum Williams. So here comes Victor Martins. Let's see if he's going to be able to make the move on Justin Arsenault up the inside. Arsenault does not fight that whatsoever. Martins goes through to 4th place, and they can continue their charge up through the field. Just while we're having that, Richard Forshaw has passed Dion Gouda for 7th place, so he's into 7th and catching up to De Wilde actually. So Forshaw is not totally out of this one.
Forshaw as well closing that gap to the race leader, so he's lapping faster than Callum Williams at the moment. So he's quick, and I must say some of these drivers who are in the midfield not putting up too much of a fight against these absolute front runners, which is good to see. I imagine there was a few more fights maybe at the start of the season, but kind of just realised, oh, it's off the circuit now is Gouda. He was pretty close to Powell, wasn't he? I wonder if those two have got in a collision with one another. And not avoiding that crash then. Let's see what happened. In fact, he's got no one behind him. Maybe this is actually an attempted overtake. Has got the 80 car actually, to be fair, behind him. But I think it's going to be by himself.
I think it happened later on, I think. That
Yeah,
looked like the spin looked like it was in turn 1.
Yeah, turn 1, turn 2.
Yeah, so obviously Gowden possibly lost, but we'll keep with this just to see if we can see what happens in this case. But that all allowed Cem Bolek-Bassi is now inside the top 10. So we'll see if Bolek-Bassi can continue his charge up through the field. Doing quite well at the moment. But let's see.
Sorry, I was just going to say how Bolek-Bassi did a 50.85, so he could take back that fastest lap. Currently O'Sullivan with a 50.82. So Bolek-Bassi could steal a point off some of the drivers further up if they continue if he continues like this.
Yep, now we should be able to see what happened to Gouda as he comes to turn 1. Looks like he's just going to be by himself here. So he comes towards turn 1 into turn 2. And yep, just a big twitch and round it went. Easy as that. And Dion Gouda looked like he kept himself out of the wall, but he's got it back going again. Rejoins in 11th. So a little bit of an unusual one there. The car just looked viciously snapped on him there.
Yeah, that was strange because that's not that tricky a corner for these Formula 3 cars. You can see how tight they're staying through that corner. I mean, it's really not that much of an issue for them. So the tyres will be at their prime right now. So no, very strange instant right there. Just must be a little bit of a shortcoming of the setup that he's using. So Forshaw on that last lap with a 50.92, that was his fastest lap of the race. It's calmed down for a moment out of these drivers. Martin's pulling away from Arsenault as well. De Wild trying to catch up to Arsenault himself, and Forshaw catching up to the back of them as well. Bullock Bassi, has he made a mistake, Chem Bullock Bassi? No, he's still on the back of what was it for a couple of corners? Oh, sorry, so he recently got past Fittipaldi, apologies. So he was behind Fittipaldi going into the last sector of the last lap, but clearly has got past since, and now Gauda will try to retake that 10th place for a point scoring finish.
Yep, Dion Gauda and Fittipaldi, two young characters on the up-and-coming in motorsport. Gauda up the inside. He's got to think about it into Cops, and he's got it done up the inside there on Fittipaldi. Nice move from the Singaporean there. I would like to point out that O'Sullivan is bringing the gap down up front. I think he's brought it down to about 3.6 seconds now. He's brought it down to his Nilsson, I think it's Logan Cusson, excuse me. He's getting up through there. Actually, that is Alfred Nilsson. I think he's making his way through, unlapping himself there. But O'Sullivan is 3.5 back from Callum Williams at the moment, and Martins is going with him. So is he going to have enough laps though? It's really close. Bowers is just slowly chipping time out of Callum Williams as well. It's 1.4. So you can see O'Sullivan's not far off. 151.1, half a second quicker than Williams that time by, as was Martins. So this could get interesting as we head towards the last couple of laps of this race. So it's just over 3 seconds the gap, and it was at 5 not too long ago.
Can we extend this race by 3 laps, please? I think we're going to need it, to be honest, for these guys to properly collude one another. I mean, 3 laps to go, 3.2 seconds. I mean, he's fast, O'Sullivan. He's not that fast though, and yeah, he needs probably an extra 3 laps in order to catch up, and I wonder if he's getting a little bit raggedy as well. Is O'Sullivan? He's driving that car pretty hard right now, taking a few tenths though. I say a few tenths, a few hundredths out in each of these individual sectors from Williams and Bowers. At the moment, Bowers was 2 tenths faster on that last lap than Williams. I don't think he'll be close enough anyway, but Williams can't afford to make a mistake. Even a slowdown would potentially cost him the race lead. So he's been put under a lot of pressure. Pretty much had to drive this race. So it was qualifying laps absolutely throughout. You can see how much O'Sullivan is cutting the circuit, throwing up dirt at every opportunity, shortening this Silverstone circuit. And on this lap, yeah, he's taking a 10.5 out of each of the 5 sectors. So you're going to be another half a second faster, I think, but it's not enough. Williams is just too consistent.
Yep, and we've kind of been sleeping on Gus Bowers is putting in one hell of a drive, I must say. Again, 2nd place. De Vilda has just passed Justin Arsenault for 5th place, just in the background, and Forshaw is also going to get in on that one as well shortly. So Forshaw is on the cusp of a top 5, driving from 20th. So it's a great drive nonetheless. You can see now Williams 151.5, but a 51. It's another half a second. You're spot on there, Sam, with a half a second, and it's just not quite enough. It's down to 2.6 nearly at this point. So it's really close. But I think again, O'Sullivan has to pass Gus Bowers as well, which is no easy feat. So he's got to make his way past Bowers, and then he's got to fight Williams. But there's only a lap and a half to go now. So I think Williams, if he just holds on now, as he has done for the entire race, I think he's got it in the bag.
I think so. Good lap so far for Bowers, actually. He's just got that gap down to 1.2. He, in fact, on the first sector of this lap, they all set at 12.76. And then Martins and De Wilde set at 12.78. That is how evenly matched all these drivers are at the moment. 2nd sector. O'Sullivan takes a little bit out, about a 10th faster, and then 3rd sector, I think they've crossed that line now. Yeah, they just have another 10th or a second faster for O'Sullivan. It's been exceptional driving, and I think as these 4 rounds have gone on, these drivers have got faster and faster, more and more consistent, more comfortable with these cars, and it's really showing right now. Forshaw is onto the back of Arsenault then, who got overtaken by De Wilde a moment ago. However, De Wilde messing up Chapel, to say the least, and he's put these drivers back on his tail. There goes Arsenu. What can Forshaw do? He's trying to open up the line. He wants to get a nice cutback on these two drivers, wants to gain at least one place, and with the wide line that Arsenu has taken right there, I think Forshaw will make that move stick, and he's got one lap now to overtake De Wilder as well, and I certainly back him to do that. Forshaw looking like he might end up the highest point scorer today with a first and a fifth position, but we are on the last lap of the race. Williams to Bowers, 1 second. Bowers to Sullivan, 1.2 seconds at the moment, and it looks like they will finish even closer than that. It's going to be about 2 seconds between the top two, between the top three by the end of the race.
Let's see if Forshaw can get that top 5. So 1 second between Bowers and Williams up front. It's going to be very close. Williams, I think, is just doing enough. I think he's just holding his own out there. Richard Forshaw, can he get that top 5? He's going to have a go, and nonetheless, De Wilde is going to defend it. Forshaw moves to the outside. He's going to have to think about the inside again. No. Gap up front, 9/10 as we head towards the end of this one. I wonder, is Williams just backing off now? He just can't afford to back off too much because Bowers can get in the slipstream then. So we'll wait and see as De Wilde tries to hold off Forshaw here for one last time as they head towards Cop's corner. Forshaw thinking about it. De Wilde defends. Forshaw to the outside. I don't think he's quite got the overspeed. He's going to have a think about it. He's going to have a little go, but he hasn't quite got. He's got understeer on the way through. And De Wilde is doing his best to hold on here. He's the highest scoring Insta-Boost driver out of all this. Arsenal still right in there as they head through Maggots and Beggars. It's a brilliant battle for the top 5 position right here as they head towards the last couple of corners as well. Callum Williams has driven immensely as we tick to the end. White flags in the air. Bowers is just not enough as they come to a lapped car right now up ahead. But Gus Bowers, he threw everything at Callum Williams. I think he's going to hold on. And now here comes Forshaw on the final lap round the outside of Stowe Corner. Is he going to be able to do it? Yes, he's done it twice in 2 races. Richard Forshaw, what's a move, but unbeatable. Callum Williams wins the feature race here in Silverstone. Gus Bowers in 2nd place. Brilliant driving. Zach O'Sullivan gets that podium. Victor Martins from 18th on the grid. And Richard Forshaw with a fabulous move around the outside gets a 5th place. De Wilde in 6th. And Arsenal, top 10 finish. Fair play to Justin. Alex Powell and Chembolak Bassi from down the back of the grid. He's going to get 9th in his debut. And Dion Gauda gets that 10th place. Emil Fittipaldi, Logan Cusson, Miguel Acosta and James Wharton, top 15. But for sure, wow, 2 times he's done that and just made it look easy.
Absolutely, and yeah, just so confident. And to be fair to his 2 opponents as well, who were overtaken on that occasion, Cousin has a off right at the end. The 2 opponents that were overtaken by Forshaw left him enough space, didn't they? Forshaw only left a car split. If that's contact, I think I'd probably put it on it being a racing incident, to be fair. But Forshaw was so confident right there. Didn't even think about it. If maybe the championship was on the line, I'm not sure if he would have gone for that, but absolutely happy to do it. Last couple of corners of the season, and that was the way to end his championship. And well, of course, we have the social media points as well, the Insta boost, but certainly looking good for Forshaw, isn't it, for the title with a very strong day today.
Yeah, an absolutely brilliant job from Forshaw, driving from 20th to 5th. And Zach O'Sullivan with another great podium as well. But Victor Martin as well, fantastic as well. 18th on to 4th place. They both drove from the back all the way up. But unfortunately, Frederick Vesti, the championship leader, coming in and not finishing this race. And a number of drivers involved in incidents as well. But yeah, really unfortunate for those. But it's that, unfortunately, that also brings an end to the championship. But I think we'll be having a very happy Callum Williamson with us, because I think Callum is waiting for us in the interview waiting area. So we'll grab Callum Williams for a quick chat and see what he's thinking. Yep, and Callum will be with you in a moment. We're just going to read out the results. Callum Williams, the winner, of course. Gus Bowers in 2nd. Zach O'Sullivan 3rd. Victor Martins, Richard Forshaw, Ugo De Wilde, Justin Arsenault, Alex Powell, Chembolak Bassi, great drive. Dion Gauda finishes in that top 10. Fittipaldi, Cusson, Costa, Wharton, Lawson, Aaron, Nilsson, Askey in 18th place. And a lap down, then just further down, we have Beitske Visser, Lawrence Van Hoppen, Frederick Vesti, unfortunately, James Pull, Clifton Simpson, Marius Sugg, Zane Maloney, Billy Munger, Frederick Luban, and Maximus Meyer in 28th. and classified as last. But Callum, we have you now in the commentary box. Thanks for joining us. A fantastic drive, an immense start, I must say. It's one of the best I've ever seen. You must be really pleased with that race win. Looks like we don't have Callan here. So we're just going to pull Callan out and see who else we can grab. We might see if we can grab second place. Let's grab Gus Bowers, I think we'll grab. Gus, sorry if we dragged you out mid-conversation there, but Gus, another brilliant drive. Second place in the feature race. Must be over the moon with that one. Bettering the result again in Interlagos.
What's going on?
Wow, so nobody wants to talk to us. Brilliant.
I mean, considering that this series is meant to promote their media, these guys, not gonna lie, they're not doing a very good job, are they? When they're not even having a chat with us.
No, well, let's see. A man who always wants to talk to us, Richard Forshaw. Let's see if we can get something out of Richard.
I think it was 1 millimeter. I crashed into you.
Sorry, Richard, we dragged you out mid-conversation there, but a great drive from 20th to 5th, the race 1 victory as well, and possibly you might have secured the championship. We'll wait and see, but obviously you must be really happy with your results overall.
Yeah, it was quite eventful again. Me and Vest here, I think, had a mega nice race in race 1. I think one of the best online races I've ever done. So well done to him as well. Unfortunately, he was a bit unlucky in race 2, but yeah, for now it seems that I won, so that would be nice.
Yeah, it certainly looked like an incredible battle from our end anyway. But obviously that brings an end to the Kokoro series. So overall, how have you enjoyed the series and how has it passed the time for you?
Well, I mean, it was good because every week I had something to look forward to. Every Friday we had the race. So yeah, I think it's very well organized. Some nice drivers, only like real racing drivers, which I like. So yeah, I cannot look forward more to any more races that.
Brilliant. I'll pass you on to Sam now.
Yeah, what other kind of sim racing have you been doing, Richard? I mean, have you just been doing this series, or has any other sim racing kind of caught your eye?
I've done a lot actually. I've done the Red Line ones. I've done the April Isolation. I think I joined quite a lot of.
And would you say the fact that, of course, you're an F3 driver, you've got experience in the cars, would you say that's been an advantage over these maybe GT drivers in comparison?
Well, I think even on iRacing, like a Formula car suits me more than a GT car, so definitely, as we're doing only Formula, of course.
Awesome. Well, congrats, Richard. Yeah, if you've won the title, which it certainly looked like you have done, it was thoroughly deserved. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we say goodbye?
Yeah, just my sponsors again. Thanks to them, I got the new pedals, new rig. So yeah, massively thanks to them, and look forward to do more races.
Awesome. Thanks for having a chat with us, Richard, and hope to see you back soon on the Esports Network.
Sure. Thank you. See you.
See you. So finally, at least somebody talked to us, Richard, for sure. Unbelievable. So yeah, Richard, we think he's secured the title. We're not going to say if he has or not because we actually don't know, so we'll find out in due course. But let's grab our third place driver, which I think was Zach O'Sullivan. So let's grab Zach. Zach, a podium for you this week. A little bit of redemption from Interlagos after that PC crash, but overall, great drive. You must be really happy.
Yeah, the start the probably race could have gone a bit better, but I'll take a podium to finish off the season. Had an unlucky incident at the start where I had to avoid a spinning car, so that put me down to about P8, I think. Yeah, and then managed to claw back through. I think I had good race pace in race 2, which was quite promising.
Yeah, now, a lot of people actually didn't hear what actually happened to you in Interlagos, so obviously you disconnected as you came to the line. So was that just an internet issue, or was there an even bigger hardware failure or something going on there?
It seemed like actually it was iRacing itself that crashed. By the looks of it, it wasn't a PC failure within the PC, so it was, I think, a game error, which is a bit unfortunate, but I guess that's part of it.
Yeah, for sure. So overall, of course, we're at the end of the championship now. How have you enjoyed it overall, and how would you rate your performance overall as well?
No, I've massively enjoyed it. It's been great fun racing against all the real drivers that I know from either have raced them or know of. In terms of my performance, obviously Barcelona probably cost me the championship in the end. I had 2 unlucky races there. partly down to me. And then obviously Interlagos, I did really everything right, but unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. So yeah, it is what it is, really.
Good stuff. I shall pass you on to Sam now then.
And I mean, of course, Kokoro hoping to set up a new season next season. Are there any cars which you fancy taking taking a spin round, or would you quite like to stick with the F3?
I think the Formula Renault I'd quite like to give a go. But I think if we want close racing, I think the F3 car is going to be the best because it's a car that a lot of people know. It's highly used on the service, and people have done so much time. They really do know the ins and outs of the car. So it's very interesting to see how close everyone is in the F3 car. So I think that is the car to use for the next season.
Of course, a big focus of this championship has been on media and kind of making or exposing yourself on to potential promoters across the world. What have you learnt in that area, would you say, as this season has gone on from Kokoro?
I just think the more you put yourself out there, whether it be on stories or posts, the more people eventually are going to notice you. And I think what Josh has done with the Insta Boost is a very good thing in the championship. I think it's fairly done. It's done on ratio to followers, ratio followers to likes. So yeah, no, it does give everyone a chance. And yeah, it shows people who are doing social media well, they do get rewarded for it in the series.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your end to the season, and hopefully we'll see you back very soon. Is there anyone you'd like to give thanks to before we say goodbye?
Obviously, Kokoro Performance, they set the series up and have been coaching me throughout it, which couldn't have any words to thank them for that. It's just, yeah, very, very useful throughout the series and definitely helped me a lot. And then obviously FB0 Simulators, who supplied me with simulators.
Awesome. Thanks for having a chat with us, Zach, and we'll see you soon.
No worries, thanks.
And Zach O'Sullivan having the chat with us there. So, yeah, Zach obviously really impressed with his performance. And now we'll try again. We'll try Callum Williams again. Let's see if he wants to have a chat with us this time. Callum, welcome to the commentary box again. A feature race win once again, and not the greatest first race for you with the incident, but you still must be really happy getting the win and just dominating out front.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, can you hear me now?
We got you. Yeah.
Perfect. Much better. Yeah. Obviously, it's always brilliant to win a race, and especially after the disappointment of the incident in the first race. But yeah, no, it's always good. I think Gus had some steam in the tank that he was saving towards the end of the race because he took about a half second out of the gap towards the end, and so yeah, that sort of got my heart racing a bit quicker at the end. But no, yeah, absolutely brilliant. I was really happy with the start as well.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about that start. I mean, it just looked like it looked like everybody else was standing still on the grid there. So it's obviously these cars are quite easy to get off the grid in comparison to others. But overall, how have you enjoyed the Kokoro Invitational Series overall, and how would you rate your own performance overall?
Yeah, I've really loved the series. I think it's been brilliant. And so yeah, I mean, I think results-wise has been a bit up and down. I don't think Interlagos was my strongest performance, but other than that, when I've been in the right position, I think I'm really happy with how I've performed, and yeah, I think it's been a brilliant series, and there's been some incredibly tough competition to race against.
Good stuff. I should pass you on to Sam then.
Yeah, what are you thinking that you're going to be able to kind of take from this championship from Kokoro when we go back racing again? What would you say that you've learnt?
Well, it's been a really good experience for me because until the situation with lockdown and everything, I hadn't really participated in any iRacing leagues apart from the sort of official stuff you get with iRacing, and occasionally in those races you maybe see one or two names that you recognise, but in this field it's 30 drivers who all have real world racing experience. They all know all the tips and tricks, and yeah, it's been brilliant. There's been absolutely heaps I've learned, especially just having to stay consistent under pressure. You know, it's so tough when everyone's times are so close, because every mistake just means, you know, so much more than it normally would, because you can't pull that gap. If you make a mistake, that time's gone forever.
And of course, you've raced against a few of these drivers on this grid. Do you think when you get back onto the real racing circuit, you'll be almost treating them differently? And would you kind of say that you've got to know some of your rivals a little bit better as this championship's gone on?
There certainly won't be any different treatment. If I can get past them, I will. But no, I think, yeah, I don't think anything would really have changed in terms of relationships between drivers at the actual races. Mostly because that's really not there very much anyway. Just because, you know, you'll go race weekends and not interact with any other drivers at all, even your teammates. Sometimes that's just how individual every car is. You know, because you're always focusing on what you're doing, and not really what anyone else is doing.
Awesome. Well, great to get that insight as well, Callan. Congratulations on your race win today. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, of course, all of my sponsors and investors. You know, my main sponsor, LaserSafe. You know, everyone's been an absolutely brilliant help. It's just, yeah, I mean, without them, I wouldn't have been able to get this incredible sim setup that I've got, and I wouldn't be able to race in the real world. And so, yeah, without, you know, the sponsors and investors, none of this would be possible at all. Also, my family, they're incredibly hardworking with everything they do to get everything right for me. So certainly them as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Callan, and hope to see you back very soon.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you very much.
And Callum Woos there. Now, I've just had a quick look, and we believe that Forshaw has been awarded the title. It was a very small gap at the end. I think it was 7 points. So Forshaw on 101 and Vesti on 96 at the end. So Forshaw with that 5th place, it was actually quite crucial that he got that win in that race 1, and got ahead of Vesti. And Vesti obviously had his problems. But yeah, Forshaw has won the title, and he's won, apparently, unless there's any penalties, he's won that £1,000, which of course is the overall, and Vesti with the 350. And Zach O'Sullivan has managed to secure 3rd in the championship as well. So yeah, it was a fantastic job from Forshaw overall.
And think if Vorshaw's move on the Wilder didn't work out, and he'd gone off into the wall like we saw Williams go off in race 1, that would have been the title gone. So I was thinking that he had a big enough lead anyway. But it turned out that it was absolutely nothing, was it? If there was contact and he dropped a few places, that would have been the title of Vesti. So what a season finale.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, unfortunately, we've just run out of time in over here. But it's been great, obviously, having Kokoro Invitational here with this brilliant series that we've enjoyed so much. And it's been obviously a pleasure for myself, and I think, I don't want to speak on behalf of Sam, but I think it has been to commentate over a series like this. So we hope that Kokoro will return with obviously they are making plans for a new series, but we'll find out about that in due course, and we'll find out if they're going to go any new route in the format. But that has been it, unfortunately. That is it for the Kokoro Invitational Series presented by FP0 Simulators. Make sure to subscribe to Apex Racing TV and to the iRacing Esports Network to keep up to date with all the future action. So with that, unfortunately, we've got to round it out. So my name has been Jack and Sam Fitzpatrick joining me in the commentary box as always, and Alex Simpson working really hard bringing the brilliant camera angles in the background. So from all of us here, Apex Racing and iRacing Esports Network, it's been a pleasure, and we will hopefully see you in the future for future rounds of the Kokoro series. And that is all from us for tonight. So thank you and good night.